Wow, buddy, how are you? Even combed your hair today.
Hey, it's already starting, huh? Wow, right off. Did you get shorter?
No. I wore my stilts.
I swear you're a little shorter than last time.
It's because the sidewalk, it slants.
Is it really? Because
Yeah.
it's actually sloping this
Here,
way.
let me stand on this. Then we wanted to sit down with the man, the myth, the legend.
Sohail.
Your brother.
My brother.
Give us some updates on anything new from the last time. So,
Well, basically,
let's do the restaurant.
right now, this is kind of where we're at. You could see they've actually posted the application for the restaurant.
hold on, wait for this.
I mean, realistically, we're looking to start here in the next week and a half, 2 weeks.
Have you seen?
The plans are right here.
All right, so
Like, check it out.
Let's get the plans. Yeah. Better than
I want
the
to make
camera.
sure we're capturing all of this. What about one of these?
Oh, what a look!
Yeah.
You should know what you should do a mural on the side of the building
Of this.
of this.
Well, you gotta make sure you get this.
Yeah. So what's decor and what's the vibe?
So for downstairs, it's really aiming for like a Paris vibe. I think there's some French influence. With respect to upstairs, kind of in the works still. So there's no direction yet. Not a definite answer as far as what the final touches for the upstairs. We're still working on that. These are plans, by the way. So basically, what this is we design stuff on paper, right? I'm being sarcastic, Casey. You're looking at it very seriously.
No, I've seen. I mean, this all goes to the city for permitting, right?
Yeah. I was trying to be funny, but
I know.
You
well,
really
I
ruined
had
my
to save
joke.
you.
I really don't
so
like.
bad.
I don't like sober.
I was like,
Casey,
like,
this is not
give him
fun.
a courtesy LOL.
We should.
Like, just haha or
This
humor.
is so lame, man.
It's not so lame. It is lame. Like, think about me. Think about others. Like, if you say a bad joke, the rest of us have to like pretend to like, oh yeah, he's.
You
funny.
laugh at my bad jokes.
I know, but they've gotten worse. My sobriety has caused them to get worse. Like, I didn't know they were this bad. I'm going back to drinking.
Basically, you come in right here. This will be dining interior space. This is that whole the bar area, and you work your way to this outer courtyard area.
Which is right there.
Which is back over there. And then we have our secondary elevator for all the patrons for the restaurant. That will go up from here straight to the rooftop, which is cool. And then so this whole secondary commercial space over there is mainly the back of house.
There was a lot of interest in the space. So the building starts to get erect, it becomes pink, it gets a lot of attention, it's become iconic, and it will continue to do so as it gets built out. What was because this was one of your first experiences in leasing or renting or having conversation on commercial retail, especially with restaurants, bars, and all the like. So you dealt with a lot of different people that are coming in. What were some of the things that they were saying? You had multiple people come in and bid, which was impressive.
I think the biggest challenge here was having a rooftop is not a very common thing, a rooftop commercial space. So speaking with professionals that are in the industry as far as commercial brokers, like the numbers that they would give us as far as price per square foot to lease, it didn't really pencil with what we had assumed that space to be valued at. We kind of had this number that we determined in-house saying, hey, this whole rooftop, since we didn't designate it as residential and we want it to be commercial, we're expecting to get this much in rent.
And a lot of people actually don't know, and we talk about this, so I'm asking the question because I know the answer, but I want other people to understand it. There was a discussion around whether or not to do restaurant, whether to do an event space, whether to do an Airbnb, like
or whether to do
more
nine units.
Yeah. Okay. So can you talk a little bit about what those options were, and then what the determining factor ended up being?
Well, originally when we designed the building, if you recall, this was going to be a communal rooftop for the building. This was original. So
just sorry to interrupt, but that is 4 years ago. Approximately 3 years ago, maybe?
No. So this is like 2.5 years ago. You know, this went by fast. So that was the original plan because that's what we had done in our downtown building. We said, let's designate the rooftop for the tenants that live here. So once we actually got plans started, I think we decided let's not do that and maybe just make this a designated commercial bar only. So we designed it as a bar space, and then again, things started to morph and we realized, no, having a bar is probably not gonna make sense. Let's transition this into a shell space, and at that point we can decide whether we wanna make this a a restaurant, an event space, a penthouse for a vacation rental. And so from that point, we started playing with numbers to see what would make the most economical sense.
Because if you're doing a space just for tenants, there's no additional income.
We already know what that cost is.
Yeah, you know what the cost is, but there's no additional revenue, right?
No
so when you look at, and then
revenue.
when you get up there, or you start to realize as you start building, like this is a really, really valuable piece of real estate.
Well, that was the thing. We're like, okay, so if we made 9 more units, because that's how many units we have per floor. We make 9 units. Let's assume each unit rents for $2,000 per unit. That's $18,000 you're going to gain in. Speaking with friends and kind of understanding the restaurant market, I was under the impression this footprint as a commercial space could possibly generate like $30,000 or $35,000.
You're talking about this or this and the top?
No, just the top.
Just the top.
I'm like, we should be able to hit like a $30,000 a month rental income for a restaurant group. It makes sense. These guys, I have friends that are paying way more than that for basic spaces in downtown, ground level. That's when we started interviewing brokers and interviewing potential restaurant groups, and their numbers were significantly less than what I was assuming, and it was less than what I would have gained as a residential income, right? So if I'm making $18,000 with residents, these guys were coming in like, oh yeah, you're not gonna get more than $15,000 a month. I'm like, that doesn't make sense. None of this makes sense. But I also think that's because they didn't know. Because remember, we're in the middle of construction.
So they can't see it.
So they can't see it, they can't visualize it, the structure wasn't there yet, the shell wasn't there, the full view wasn't.
Isn't it funny though, and I could be just because when I first started investing in commercial real estate specifically, you can start to see it before it's there, but 99% of the population cannot see it.
99%.
You can tell.
99% can't see it.
It's amazing. Where you're like, gosh, if you just think how high you're going to be, what that view is going to look like. But people, until they actually put foot and eyeballs on
100%.
the actual space, cannot even visualize. And it's funny, even when they get on the space, when there's nothing there, it's hard for someone to visualize. Like even this, like a shell space, it's hard for people to visualize all the decor, the lighting, the ambiance, the detail.
Even this right now, when you're standing here, it's a construction site. I have just storage of crap, of trash and materials. They can't see what's coming. Funny enough, my friend who owns several restaurants, he said, Nima, build it, finish it, they will come knocking on your door. I'm like, I don't have time. I don't have time to wait. I need to get somebody in now rather than finish the whole shell. But he said, just if you can hold off for another 6 months or a year, I promise you're gonna have people just knocking to take over that space for a premium.
Yeah.
But I said,
and
no,
you did.
We kind of did and we didn't.
Yeah, you kind of did and didn't. Yeah, exactly. But there was, when you have multiples, that's, no matter how you get to the multiple people that are bidding, that's still a good place to be in. When people see like rooftop, because just what you said, there are not rooftop opportunity. There's a handful in.
Even if there are, they don't have this view.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, the view and then this high, especially with downtown and the surrounding areas.
Totally.
This is very unique. And so every single person that knows that I'm associated with this building, they ask, when is that going to be ready?
Isn't that crazy?
And what is the concept and design?
It's actually, so it's cool because you come up, elevator, you have the heart of the restaurant is up here where the bar is, seating all around, and then you have this awesome covered patio space. I got to show you the renderings too. It looks really awesome.
Oh yeah, I gotta see those. That's cool. It's like my little brother.
First of all, is it 65? I thought it's 75 now. No, I'm
Is it really?
Is it 65?
Your Bronco only goes to 55.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, we're just doing B-roll here. We don't need to talk about it.
Do I look like a guy knows what B-roll is, man?
It's just like behind the scenes. Like we don't.
What
want
does
to
B-roll mean? Tell me what it means.
What is it behind?
Exactly.
Make sure you get this too. Like this is the stuff that I know. This is a pine coat. I mean, really just hard on that
shit, man.
It's because I've been really working out with this water fast.
Working out. What is this water fast business?
So good. Have you ever done it? Have you ever done it?
No, man.
Dude, you have to do it.
Why? Why
good.
do that to myself?
It's so good.
You don't look so good.
Yeah, but you always say that. See?
All right. So the building, you see the name we just put?
Yeah, I saw that.
The sign.
I want to. So a little bit about that. Where does the name come from? A lot of people have asked.
That's my dad.
Sasan is your dad?
Are you messing around?
I know I'm asking because
are you messing around?
I don't want to see the answers. I know all the answers to every question I'm asking.
Of course, yes. Hassan is my dad.
And because you name all your buildings.
Not all of our buildings, but a lot of the buildings that we've done, our projects we've done, we've obviously dedicated them to a family member. So we've already done my mom's building, we've done my brother's kids, and so this one, we ended up giving it to my dad.
Do you understand how this works? I ask questions. Even though I know the answer, there's a lot of people that they're like, tell us more about Nima.
This is not about me, this is about the building.
Well,
you want to talk about me? That's a whole nother conversation.
Okay, they don't want to really know about you. They want to know about your role with the building. And part of it is the name. Okay, so what was the idea here? Obviously, there's you guys have an aesthetic and a vibe.
We don't really have, so the aesthetic and the vibe, this kind of plays into that.
Oh,
we don't have a
communal.
We don't have a communal area, but we have this cool little area for people to lounge, play with their laptop.
And this is all going to be...
So you're going to see the commercial space from here. So as you walk in, you'll see the whole cafe. And then this is cool too, because we put a little collage of art with photos of my dad.
How cool.
His youth, his childhood photo, and you got his hippie days when he was getting high. And then finally, when he matured, you can see the rest.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a cool little section. I sent it over. I sent him a photo of this. He's like,
that's cool. I named my building in Mission Valley, the Maryland.
Oh, you did? Yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah. Well, okay, so can you give a little bit of context as to your dad and then you and your brother and the business? So from
as far as how we started off?
Yeah, how you started off. So to give a little context, it's not just because he's not just your father.
Well, he's our mentor too, of course, and he's the reason why we were able to put this business together. It was probably halfway. I was probably halfway into college. My brother was closer to finishing college, and my dad said, "Hey, do you guys want to start a business together? Because if you do, we can take this home that we're in, sell it, the little bit of equity that we have, we can go buy a piece of land and start a development firm."
What year is this? Because you're pretty old.
This is 2003.
Okay.
Yeah, about 2003.
21 years ago.
21 years ago. So I had just gotten my real estate license then, and I would take the camcorder. Remember camcorders?
Yeah.
I would take the camcorder and I would drive all through San Diego, and I would film properties, vacant lands for sale. And at night, I would take it home. We'd all sit down as a family and watch these videos of the different properties that I'd filmed.
How cool.
I would obviously pick and choose the ones that I thought were good locations or potential areas for us to build. I filmed a property in Mission Hills, showed it to my dad. My dad's like, I love it, let's do that. So I think we had like $300,000 of equity that we were able to pull from our sale of our home, the house that we grew up in. Bought the land cash, got a construction loan, developed it, built it.
Because your dad was currently working.
He was working at the city.
Correct?
Yeah, he was working at the city. So basically he kind of trained us, geared us to do this project.
What was he doing at the city?
He was a structural engineer, plan checker.
Okay.
Put us on the job site, said, this is what you guys need to do every day. And we were literally in the ditches, digging, doing all this intense labor, but we were learning at the same time.
That's super. So tell me a little bit about the first time that he knew he would get the naming rights of the building. And then also too, when he saw this for the first time, because I'm assuming did he know this or was it a surprise?
He didn't know this. I still have more to do. So my dad's a musician, and so it's all he does all day long. Since he's retired, all he does is he sits down in his music room and he composes music. And
is it his music on the?
No, so that's what we're gonna do. Is we're gonna eventually tie in his music here as well.
Oh, cool.
Not the whole time, but I think we'll out of like maybe 50 songs that we all have on the playlist, I'll probably throw in like 10 of his songs.
That's cool.
Because I don't want people to get too scared with the Persian music. I wanted to have a nice balance.
Well, that's good too. Plus, you're telling the story now, so people know kind of what the backstory is. That's super cool.
Yeah.
But tell us what was the inspiration with pink? Was it really just why not?
Well, I think for us, every single building that we've done to date was either black, white, or gray. It's like the combination of these things. And I think this just needed to be something that stood out, that was different. What's funny is that both my brother and I, at the same time, we said, let's go pink.
Let's go pink.
Let's just give it a fun, happy color.
Miami,
and pink is happy, man.
Hills,
It's the color of love and joy. Why deprive people?
Well, it's become very iconic, right? It's the pink building, right? And then a lot of people recognize it as that. There's
a lot of people love it and a lot of people hate it.
You said it's 50-50, right? And most of the time, a lot of it was very in the newer stages of it because people can't envision what it's going to look like fully built out. When you first started, right, and they first saw pink.
When they first started, it was awful. Like the amount of negative feedback we got, I'm like, What's wrong with you people?
So just so people know, his brother does the design and the acquisition of the property.
Yeah.
And then your boots on the ground. So you're here every single day. You've been here every single day for 2 years.
Yeah.
And so once the building got torn down, we were here. We could flash to the picture where we had it on the tractor.
Yeah.
From that day where they demoed everything, and before this, it was a flower shop right on the corner.
That's right.
And then, was there one other?
It was a flower shop. The rest of the businesses were gone, but it was like a gym and then a ice cream parlor, I think.
But as soon as that demo started to take place, everyone within a half a mile radius has an opinion.
Oh my God.
Right? And they don't like it. No one likes the change, but they don't understand the benefit of development.
The more frustrating comments that I received were actually more geared towards the units rather than the actual exterior color. I remember a lady walked by, she said, very frustrated with me. She was asking me all these questions, and then when I was, respectfully responding, she's like, I just don't understand how you can subject people to living in a 300 square foot apartment unit.
You should have been like this. Oh, I'm sorry. No. It's $275.
Yeah, I swear, I wanted to. Type of comment just
300. No,
it frustrates me, but more than anything, it shows me how sheltered these people are. Like they're living in their $2 million, $3 million home and don't realize people are struggling right now, man. These are professionals that are making solid income. They just can't afford to live anywhere else. Or they're smart enough to maybe say, hey, rather than go live in Little Italy and spend $3,000 or $3,500, I'll consolidate my life and I'll live in something that's half that price and in an amazing neighborhood. Mm-hmm. This is the best place to live. This is one of those awkward elevator moments. You have nothing to talk about? Are you Instagramming while you're in the elevator?
No, I was just checking. I'm so popular. It's just hard to keep up. I love this, man. This is all the pink on the inside. You guys just went full on.
We went straight, fuck you. You don't like pink?
Can you talk a little bit about the density and how that changed from the time that the property was acquired in what was originally the plan, and then density requirements from the city changed sometime during COVID, correct? Because if you added a certain amount of
complete communities, that's a whole law that passed in San Diego, which allowed us to build 54 units originally. The reason why it's 53 now is because we converted 2 units to 1. But that new law is what allowed us to do this, because if that didn't pass, I think this property was only limited to 12 or 14 units.
Right. That was originally what it was going to be, correct?
No. I think we ended up buying this property knowing this law was about to pass. We knew for sure this law is going to pass in the next month or two. Let's jump on it before people realize what they can do with the building. So yes.
Because a lot of people have questions on scaling to investment at this level. A lot of what you're looking at, or not a lot of, but part of what you're looking at is your acquisition costs on the land, correct?
Yeah.
So if you can get a really good, you make a lot of money when you're investing on your buy side, and construction and timing and cost of capital. There's a lot of different things, but what was, I guess on this property in particular, some of the backstory on how the property was acquired?
Well, we had to go through, it was bank owned at this time, so we ended up submitting an offer. Unfortunately, on the last hour, some other guy came in and threw in an offer $10,000 over our price, which ended up requiring us to go into a bidding war with him. So,
and just because it's interesting, doesn't happen all the time. On a bank owned, especially when you're the only person, because a lot of people don't know. Was there some sort of alert that went out that somebody caught?
Once we submitted that offer, I can't remember if it was a 1 week notice or a 1 month notice that they had to put it out there saying, hey, this offer has been out.
And most of the time it's not caught.
And most of the time it's not caught, but I don't know how somehow this
guy
caught
wind of it. Yes.
And that cost us almost $250,000.
Yes.
We went to a bidding war. We sat down with him on Zoom because it was still that whole COVID stuff. So we did the Zoom bidding war. And we literally put our bottom line. Basically, me and Soil were listen, we'll take this to this X number. If it goes over that, we have to walk. We just got shy of that. Even though the deal still would have made sense, we're let's just not.
Because at the time, back in that time, there was a lot of stuff trading, it was a very active market. So from the time you acquired the property to today, interest rates, the timing of the economy,
It hadn't
changed.
exploded yet. Where remember, like the market went just like this. We were still at that point where the market hadn't taken off, and so people weren't actively trying to pick up stuff as aggressively. Aggressively.
But also too, it's easier to buy and trade. You're the only active buyer, whereas now, if there's a really good deal, there's a lot of active buyers.
It's over. It's over.
A lot of people trying to place capital.
We got very lucky. So, but unfortunately, we lost a little bit on that, but we got the deal.
But you still got the deal, and it's still deals usually at this size, $250,000. You're gonna run into a couple $250,000.
Oh my God, more than a couple. So
so in the grand scheme of things, it hurts in the short term, but you've done this enough times. You're gonna run into a couple of $250,000. That's how it goes. You have to build that into your pro forma.
Unfortunately, now that land acquisition is no longer a big factor because cost of construction is so astronomically high.
Percentage-wise, from the time that we started with the budget and to now, how much higher has it gone?
Let me just put it in perspective. I just got an email from our concrete supplier. They just increased concrete by 30% just this week.
Wow.
That's just this week. That has nothing to do with the price increases that we went through over the last 2 years.
Yeah. Wow.
And which were astronomical increases.
Yeah.
So to receive another 30% this week, it's like, how do we make sense of any deal?
Well, the good thing is the concrete work is completely done.
Thank God.
Here.
We would have lost our ass.
Yeah.
Now imagine that happened halfway into the construction of this building.
It makes a good point, right? So now you can look at other projects that are in permitting or in where it may not pencil, where you can go in and there could potentially be some bank-owned stuff on commercial, where instead of going out from the idea of acquiring the land, doing the drawings, getting it permitted from start to finish, you may go in at the 15% marker and be able to pick something up.
Yeah, the issue that we're running into now, it's even if somebody hands us the land for free, we can't pencil it. You can't pencil it.
Yeah.
That's
what I'm saying. So not just the land, but
you have to find these existing buildings,
and where somebody's going, I can't afford this, I'm giving it back, and to where they're going to take a steep discount. Those are the deals that may over the next 3 years, but especially in commercial.
The commercial aspect. That's I think where everybody's going to start shifting to, or they already have, is buying these commercial buildings, converting them into residential, and we're looking at that right now. That's probably the only thing that we can make sense of.
Yeah.
But that's scary.
So let's talk a little bit about, let's kind of veer back into this building. So you have 53 units. We started leasing a couple of months ago.
We started.
How long does it typically take?
6 months.
Take 6 months?
So a project this size normally for us normally for any apartment building takes about 6 months to fully occupy. We finished this project. This is the first time we've ever finished a project in wintertime, especially right around the holidays. So we got our occupancy permit. We got our occupancy signed December 13th or December 15th. December, dead. Nobody showed up. Beginning of January, we assumed, okay, there's going to be a rush. People didn't start coming in until like middle of January. So, and now we're at middle of March? Not even. We were able to fill up 70% of the building in 2 months.
Wow.
Which is
amazing.
Crazy.
Yeah. So where's the starting point is every unit the same? Where's the starting point?
Our cheapest unit in the building is about $1,750. And then from there, prices go up about $100 for the middle size unit, and then another $100 for the larger unit. So
you're somewhere between 16 and 19?
You're somewhere between $1,750 to $1,950. That's the range.
The range.
And so you're getting all those types of units filled up. So it's not like just
one is doing better than the other.
It's not one is doing better, surprisingly. In fact, our smallest units, which I thought were going to be the hardest units to rent here, were the first to go. And they weren't actually the cheap units. They're the corner units. So those ones are in like the 1,900 range. They all got...
What's the feedback? I know you've been kind enough to take a lot of people through, and I think when they first see a unit like this, or when you first tell them, it's going to be, everyone has a question about a micro unit, which is kind of a trend right now, especially in dense urban areas. But what are some of the things people say when they actually see it? Because when you walk in here, you're like, oh, I could live here. You know, certainly it's, when you say 275 and people like equate it to what they're used to, not necessarily designed quite like this or you know, furnished quite like this, they get anxiety, like, ah, that's so small. But then when you see it,
it's different.
You're like, wow, I could definitely see myself here, especially for that price point, living by myself in San Diego in an area where most of the time, if you say you live in downtown Mission Hills, you're like, what? You're spending $3,000-$4,000 easy.
Yeah, when I show people the units, I make sure, first of all, they know what they're walking into. It's not like they just see.
So when they call
or when they book an appointment to tour, I make sure that they're aware that these are micro studios. Because if they just walk into a unit assuming it's a standard studio at that price point, they'll freak out, right? Like anybody else. But I haven't really ran into that situation. So almost every single person that's walked into this property, they already knew what they were about to see as far as the size. But the positive feedback, I think, is mainly because it is different from any other micro unit that is here in San Diego. Because if you go look at a lot of these micro units, first of all, majority of the micro units in San Diego are converted micro units, right?
Okay, so this is the first time I've been up here with the sliders built in.
Really? It's been that long?
Mm-hmm. We got another roof. Let's just keep building.
Just keep going, man.
Okay, so the first thing everybody wants to know is, when is it going to be done?
So
I don't care what you're doing. We just want to come see it. Because just like anything else, most people, no matter what you say, even with the video, you can't visualize it. Aside from the view, which is done.
Most people are going to laugh when I tell them when it's going to be done because it's not unrealistic, but I need to go.
Drum roll. Please.
Drum roll is September is the opening date. So that means I need to start last month.
Is there anything in the design or in the build that you're excited to do because it'll be something new? Well, you see the thing from concept to this.
More than anything, it's just exciting because I've never done a restaurant.
A full restaurant.
I think it would be cool to just kind of put that on a resume and say, hey, look, we've done this.
Totally.
What's next?
I know, it's exciting. I don't think we need to go all the way over here. We can kind of see, you want to...
Well, I thought you wanted to see how it feels when you walk out. My God, Casey, you wanted the full tour, now you don't want it?
No, I do. What are they doing? What are they doing over here? Are you going to fit tables in there?
So what's going to happen on this side is we're going to build in a bar that actually is anchored to the wall. So obviously this whole thing opens up too. A built-in bar section right here that patrons can sit, have their food or their drinks. Oh, no, I'm sorry. There's no seating. It'll just be kind of a standing bar.
Standing.
Right?
That's cool. What's fire code for how many people can fit up here? Not necessarily seats, but how many...
I think on our plans, it was like the 150 or 200. I think permitted, when we were permitting this, I think we were allowed up to like 200 and something, but we're not going to hit that number.
What are the time constraints for noise, and will there be music?
Yeah, so for our noise curfew, the way we've agreed with, what we've signed in the lease terms is Sunday through Thursday, cutoff time is 10 p.m. And then Friday, Saturday, it's 11 p.m. And she's going to do brunch, and I don't know if it's breakfast or if it's just brunch. That's going to be...
On Friday, just Saturday, Sunday?
I think it's on Saturday and Sunday, but it's still kind of in the works. I think once she gets the business up and running, that's when she'll start. Once everything's...
What's the food theme?
It's more fish forward, but it's your California cuisine. She wants to bring in a lot of seafood, but she will serve your traditional steak and fish as well.
So we're September is the go live date. That gives you anxiety.
It gives me a lot of anxiety.
I'm sure your brother
Especially since there's nobody working here right now.
Yeah.
I'm just curious. What's your end goal here, man?
I don't know, just to be like you. I will say this. They always say don't invest with friends, right? Like just don't do business with friends.
You didn't.
I would say... Where am I going with this? I'm hopefully going to lunch.
Yeah, where the hell are you going? Where are you going with your social media?
I don't know.
Ask this guy.
Ask this guy.